Welcome into Buffalo Bills Weekly, where we're giving you an inside look on everything happening right here this week. He's Chris Brown, I'm Maddie Glab. The Bills are off to a hot start, one of 3 remaining undefeated teams in the AFC, Chris.
Yeah, and a lot to be excited about. Look, outside of week 1, their offense looks pretty businesslike, putting up 30 points a game and winning games by double digits. And that's with the defense still trying to figure things out. So as I said, a lot to be excited about here going forward.
Through 3 weeks, they're one of the best offenses in the league. You said business-like. I want to work for that business that's averaging more than 30 points per game at 34. Their quarterback, Josh Allen, is playing smart football. They're leaning on the run game and spreading the ball out. What's one thing you're loving about this team right now?
It is the run game, because I think it's become the identity of their offense, which is crazy to say when you have a league MVP at quarterback, right? But still in all, there they are, leading the league with 163 rushing yards per game. And I think the most exciting thing about their running game is they have diversified it. Offensive line coach Aaron Cromer and offensive coordinator Joe Brady have diversified the run game. I think there are more run plays in the menu that they've thrown at opponents, and it's caught them off guard. And now you have opposing defenses scrambling to come up with answers for what is a much larger volume of run plays coming at them from the Bills.
You got to worry about James Cook and Josh Allen. I'm loving the quarterback's play so far to start the season. Josh Allen is playing lights out. He's mastered the game plan, taking what defenses are giving him, not putting the ball in harm's way. 7 touchdowns, no turnovers, a big reason why the Bills have scored at least 30 points in every game.
Yeah, and if you look at it going forward, I think it's the short to intermediate passing game that's been effective. They haven't really taken shots yet, but hopefully with a run game that's going to demand more people to come down into the box, and maybe some defensive backs squatting on short routes, more opportunities will open up down the field.
Who knows, maybe we could see it against the Saints in week 4. There's a lot of positives about the Bills right now. However, still a work in progress. What's one thing you want to see out of this team in week 4?
Yeah, I'm hopeful that the pass rush gets better end results. And what I mean by that is obviously getting the quarterback on the ground. 6 sacks through 3 games is not a bad number.
Right.
And we've seen pressure around opposing quarterbacks. And look, I think there is some potential there for that group to grow. We've seen encouraging signs from Deon Walker. We know they're going to be getting Michael Hoyt back from suspension in a couple of weeks. I think he's going to be a dynamic presence in the pass rush. I just think they've got to get to the point where they're affecting the quarterback more week to week. We haven't seen that enough yet.
It might take a couple weeks for a new group to come together and figure out, okay, who is the guy next to me? What is his rush plan for them to really work as one? One thing that I want to see out of this team is Buffalo needs to tighten up their red zone defense. They're allowing teams to score in the red zone 71% of the time, bottom 5 in the NFL. Sean McDermott said not enough things are working together right now. You got to have better communication, stop the run, and provide sticky coverage.
Yeah, red zone defense, I think the big sticking point here is stopping the run. Through 3 weeks, the Bills are giving up 6.6 yards per carry in the red zone. That's the 3rd highest number in the league. It's got to get better down there, because when you can't stop the run in the red zone, you leave the menu to opposing offensive coordinators wide open, because they can stay on schedule with down and distance. And so you look at it, through 3 games, they've given up only 2 rushing touchdowns in the red zone, 3 passing, but it's that yards per carry average against that has to come down. They got to cut that in half, at least, if they want to become a more effective red zone defense.
And what do we hear from defensive coaches all the time? Stay in your gaps. If you can do that, you'll limit the run in the red zone. Don't go anywhere, because when we return, we're giving you the best sound from this week. And later on, Bills legend Mitch Morse brings us his Morse code.
The challenge is, again, they're going to have their ears pinned back. They want to win as badly as anybody in the league right now. And again, there's no easy games in this league. They're going to come out. They're going to have their best shot, and we got to figure out how to stop that and adjust accordingly during the game. But they got a front that's really good. They got some DBs that can make some plays on the ball, and I think they're playing a lot better than their score. And I know last week just kind of got out of hand early on, but the first 2 weeks, I mean, they're playing really good football, so we got to be prepared for anything.
They're very good at, not showing you what they want to do till post snap. Heavy communication. They're very dialed in on their details and their scheme, but a lot of disguise. They fly around. They got obviously Ed Ed Oliver up front. He's a game wrecker. We got to have a good plan for him. Smart guys at safety, good guys at corner and linebacker as well. So we got to have a good plan and go out there and not, we got to play to win. We got to play to win. Go out there and just let it rip and go out there and make something happen.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he goes through his reads quick. He'll tuck in and run if he has to. They got a zone read offense, so like that's we're working on all those angles, and yeah, they got a good offense. Even though they lost last game, they got a solid offense. They've been in most of the games they played this year, so they're a smooth team, good offense, and we're ready for the challenge.
They run a consistent scheme. We have a lot of familiarity with each other. Played them 6 times in the last 3 years. So I know them pretty well. I've been trying to share my notes with all the guys from the past 3 years on everything that they do. Hopefully they find a couple of quick nuggets out of that can give us a couple of edges on some plays that we're expecting to get.
I think it was about Kellen and being a first-year head coach. And, yeah, I think he's doing a really good job. I really do. You can see his personality and his team and the way they play. First 2 games in particular, this last game got away from him. Overall, the first 2 games, it's a one-possession game. They've got the ball and a chance to win the game. So I think he's off to a great start. Seems to be well prepared for the job.
They're a really good football team. Josh is obviously the MVP for a reason in this league. He's playing phenomenal football, and I think the one big thing you see is just how connected all 3 phases are. They're just very complementary of each other. They get leads, they hold on to it. The defense gets to rush the passer, create turnovers. Special teams does a good job. Even the Baltimore game, they get down. The defense is able to create some turnovers and then get the ball back for them late, and they're able to score. And so they're playing really well connected. They've won the turnover ratio 25 straight games, I believe it is. When teams win the turnover ratio, there's a high likelihood they're going to win football games, and so they're doing a heck of a job with that.
Welcome back to Buffalo Bills Weekly, and it's time for Morse Code with former Bills center Mitch Morse, who is also the BFLO Store legend of the game for the Bills Week 4 matchup with the Saints. Mitch, thanks for taking time as always. And first and foremost, I got to ask you, are you getting tips from former legends of the game? Because I don't think you've done this before, right?
No, I'm terrified, Chris. I have been searching the internet, my phone contacts, begging people to give little insights, because the last thing you want to do is either do too much and take away from what you're there for, which is literally just kind of guiding the crew to the good vibes, the good juju, or you do too little and you don't. Yes, I'm terrified, and I'm trying to get as much information as I possibly.
I will tell you that most of the guys, their advice is pretty simple and straightforward. They say stick to the script, and you can't go wrong doing that.
Well, the last thing you want to do is make it about yourself. Like, you're just there to pass the torch to the crowd. Here is the energy. And then you just kind of like Scooby-Doo your way off the field and then watch the game like every other Gentile. And that's the plan.
I'd like to see you Scooby-Doo. I don't know if I've ever seen that before, so I look forward to that when you wrap up your little script there before the game to get people amped up. That should be fun. Challenges here, and Bills fans might snicker at this because the winless Saints come to town here in Week 4, and, I think a lot of Bills fans are expecting this to be a walk. Obviously, the players can't take it that way, but what is often the mindset for players when you have a team, number one, that you don't see very often, and number two, isn't going to stoke the embers of self-motivation to really get amped up for a football game necessarily?
Yeah, Chris, I mean, if you're thinking that you're just going to walk on a team, just look at last week. The Dolphins were poised to get walked all over, quote unquote, and that was a tight game till the very end, right? You're going to get a team that, again, is stepping into Highmark Stadium with nothing to lose, right? And if you look at the first 2 weeks, the matchups they had with the Cardinals and then the 49ers, those were close games. That Seattle Seahawks game was a little bit of an anomaly. So I'm going to see a team coming into Highmark Stadium that's got nothing to lose, that's made these adjustments, and it's going to come out and fire on all cylinders is what you can only assume. And then as a team, if I'm the Bills, I'm thinking it's a clean slate. I'm going to be tested again on my emotional and competitive maturity. Can I come in, reset after these big wins, these first 3 big wins? We got a little bit of outside noise, and can I come in and just do my job? stick to the process, which is thrown around a bunch, but get out there and then ultimately try to hang another Seattle type score on these New Orleans Saints.
We often hear from the Bills coaching staff that they almost impress upon the players. Yes, you prepare for your opponent, the personnel you might see, tendencies, et cetera, but ultimately the coaching staff under Sean McDermott always comes back to taking care of what they need to do personally, within the scope of the game plan, their role, et cetera. How does that serve kind of as a grounding force for the Bills over the years when maybe they are playing what is perceived to be a lesser opponent? How does that kind of keep them on the straight and narrow of, their role, their responsibilities each and every week?
Well, it's kind of a one-size-fits-all deal, right? If you focus on the finite things, if you focus on compounding moments throughout the week and then having a celebration of those moments on a Sunday, it doesn't matter who your opponent is, right? It doesn't matter if it's the Baltimore Ravens or the New Orleans Saints. If you can focus on that process, if you can be critical of yourself, if you could kind of implement what you need to in practice to get better at what you need to get better at. I mean, the nice thing is if you watch last week's game, there's stuff to work on, right? And that is huge. And that just gets you back into the groove of the week, because in the end, it is the NFL, and those guys are cognizant of that, knowing that no matter what people's records are, what they've shown on film before, that next week, it's a clean slate. And if you don't put your best foot forward, and if you don't focus on the process, and if you let the outside noise kind of impede what works, then you're going to get embarrassed.
All right, Mitch, as always, thanks for the time. We'll catch up with you next week.
Sounds good. See you then.
All right, coming up, an update on the new Highmark Stadium from none other than former Bills quarterback and Amazon Prime NFL analyst Ryan Fitzpatrick. He toured the building. He'll have the latest developments next here on Buffalo Bills Weekly.
Bills legend and current Amazon Prime analyst Ryan Fitzpatrick was in town for Week 3's matchup against Miami. In addition to taking his shirt off for Bills Mafia, Fitzpatrick managed to take a tour of the new Highmark Stadium. Let's say he's really pumped up about the new digs.
This area we're in is for the players' families, whole dining area.
So either pregame, tarp on the field, weather's not good.
Yeah.
Players need to warm up, or when there's a weather delay, like there's already been a couple of those this year.
Right.
There's lightning in the area, something going on. Teams have to go back. The team can be staying loose and warming up in here.
Does anybody have? I don't think any stadium has that right now.
No.
Yeah, no, nobody has that. I actually am even seeing this as like a post-game family staging area, but kids running around down there.
100%. Well, you nailed it. So you know the drill. So
this is the main locker room. So this is 80 stalls. We're at the farm. We go down there. We're installing the actual lockers. The majority of the finishes in here when we're done are white. And the reason we did that is we have a lighting system that we can turn the locker room any color we want. So as a doing a blue locker room, we got it stuck there, right? We don't have that salute to service. It could be RV green. Or if a corporate entity wanted to come here and rent it out, we can turn it the color. So we spend a lot of time on the space. Each locker, you can see the ventilation system.
Well, that's what I was going to ask about. Yeah.
Each one is individually ventilated.
Yeah.
You go down there and check it out, because one of the things we're trying to do too is the attention to detail. So the red charge in our logo shows up in thousands of places in the stadium. And you can see the start of the ceiling. The ceiling basically is an extension of the locker. So that's the first one. These wings, we're calling them, extend from each locker up into the ceiling, kind of form.
That'll be all the way.
That's
going to look really cool.
The whole idea behind that is we're in this together, like that team spirit. So the lockers actually grow up over the ceiling to form this kind of visual. It's really cool. There's a huge Bills logo hanging from the middle.
Yeah.
And then we kind of have what I'm calling the theater, lack of a better word, in the middle for where coach speaks post game. That's kind of the backdrop for him.
Yeah, it's the true Buffalo experience.
Yeah. We call this, one of the things you're going to get is the vertical design. So the building grows up in the air, not out.
The thing I am most excited for in this stadium is to hear what this place is going to sound like on opening day.
This feels like more like an arena.
It does.
Than a giant stadium.
But how close everybody is to the
You're on
field.
top. That's what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, like, you know, because some of these stadiums are so massive, and those nosebleeds are like so
Fanned out further, yeah.
Like, to me, that might be the best seat in the house.
Each cut in those panels is the charge of this logo.
Of course it is. Yeah, there's the charge again. There it is.
Right?
Oh, sick.
Water from this roof comes down, goes through the stormwater system. Ultimately, some of it ends up daylighting at the creek behind the existing facility where players park today. So it gets transferred all the way across there.
Now, I think you guys missed one there. I feel like we should bottle it up and sell it.
Oh,
Bottle
yeah.
it up, purify it, and sell it.
Bill's Mafia would buy that for sure.
The hardest part for me is going to be, I don't know where to sit. It doesn't look like there's a bad seat in the house.
No.
And then the other thing that I can't wait is the noise. I know we talked about the noise downstairs and it kind of echoing off the roof and the cantilever, but that's going to be something that I think a lot of teams are going to come in here and that's what they're going to be talking about. The upgraded visitor locker room
Right.
and how loud this place gets with Bill's Mafia. This is insane.
Coming up next, don't go anywhere because we're diving into everything you need to know about the Week 4 duel against the New Orleans Saints. Welcome back into Buffalo Bills Weekly. The Bills are facing the Saints in Week 4. It's a tale of two opposites. The Bills 3-0, the Saints 0-3. You got a new coach in Kellen Moore, a young quarterback in Spencer Rattler who's 0-9 as a starter. The offense has some playmakers in Alvin Kamara and Chris Olave, but they look disjointed to start the season.
Yeah, I will give credit to Spencer Rattler, super talented thrower of the football. The problem is they haven't been able to tap into all of that talent because their protection up front has been inconsistent. So Kellen Moore and Rattler have relied on a short passing game to get the ball out quickly to combat that lack of protection up front, and it reveals itself in the numbers. He has a high completion percentage, but his yards per attempt is around 5, which is one of the lowest in the league. So that's what they've done to remain functional, and yes, they have relied heavily on Kamara and Olave within the scope of the offense in terms of targets.
Even though the Bills are 3-0, they still have areas they want to improve in. Third down and red zone defense are bottom 10 in the league. It's allowing teams to stay on the field longer, extend drives, and score more points. How do they tighten it up against the Saints?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, they got to get better on run defense in the red zone. They got to cut that yards per carry average in half. As for third down, I liked what the Bills were doing defensively on first and second down. They were forcing third and longs. Last week against the Dolphins, they just couldn't get off the field on third and long. You cannot give up third and long conversions. I think Bobby Babich is a little bit limited with what he can call there because they don't have Max Hairston opposite Christian Benford. I think the man coverage calls get limited because of that. There's a deficiency there in man coverage. So I think Bobby Babich has got to scheme up ways to put his defense in more advantageous situations. I think he's tried to be timely with blitz calls. They haven't worked to this point. I don't think he should get away from that. Still be aggressive at times, pick your spots, and then hope you can get the quarterback on the ground more often.
Defensive coordinator Bobby Babich said, it's good we're getting teams in the third down, but there's two things that have to happen. I have to make better calls, and we have to execute as a defense. We also heard from head coach Sean McDermott about the defense saying, we've got some young guys in there, and it's exciting, but it'll be more exciting when everything comes together. How tough is it as a defensive coach to be in kind of a wait-and-see mindset once you get back to full strength?
Yeah, it is hard because you know you have the pieces that can make your defense good, but they just haven't all gelled and fit together in a seamless way. And I think that takes time.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, you still have to add Hoyt and Ogunjobi to the mix when you get to midseason. So there'll be another couple of new pieces that you have to fit together, not to mention Hairston, the rookie, who I think is expected to play a lot when he gets back from his knee injury.
We don't have a full picture yet on Buffalo's defense, still waiting for some big pieces to come back into the mix. With the win, the Bills will get closer to breaking a couple records. Running back James Cook needs 1 rushing touchdown to break the team record of consecutive rushing touchdowns in games games, that number would be 8. And then with the victory, the Bills would have 14 straight home wins, one shy of tying the franchise record set by the Bills in 1991.
Yeah, and look, it's a heck of a group you're trying to emulate, right? And I think we understand why the Bills are heavy favorites in this one. The line's been around 15.5 to 16.5 point favorites, and we understand why. The Bills look like a machine, and the Saints are just trying to figure it out. New head coach, as you mentioned, in Kellen Moore. He's just starting to get this thing off the ground. It's not unlike Sean McDermott back in 2017 when he's trying to push a boulder up the hill. 24 new players on the Saints roster this year. That's a lack of continuity that you really have to work hard to pull together to look like they're playing cohesive football. They don't have all the people on the bus yet that they probably want to be a winning program. We know what that looks like. We saw it here 8 years ago.
We want to thank you for tuning into Buffalo Bills Weekly. For Chris Brown, I'm Maddie Glab. We'll see you next week.